I'm going to talk a little bit about the future. Like if people on Instagram, you can DM me the word CNC and I'll send you a link after this is over. We've made incredible money in the CNC over the last few months. If you've been making money in the CNC on Instagram or on YouTube, drop those money bags and let everybody know. We actually made incredible amount of money over the last 2 weeks by using these methods that we talk about on Strategy Sunday. So let's move on. The future, Tesla and Robotaxis. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tesla, Elon Musk, has said that he predicts a future where Tesla, and I've said this before. I said this before he even said this because I'm a big believer in one cryptocurrency. It's called IOTA. And I've been a believer since 2016. And their development team's all messed up, but the concept is strong. And hopefully somebody else takes over or whatever, because the concept is strong. And what IOTA was good for is what's called micropayments. Micropayments are going to be used to power what's called the Internet of Things society. We're going to talk about that a little later. But Elon Musk got on stage, I think a few months ago, and he said that he envisions and he will start creating a future where Tesla owners will be able to rent out their Teslas while they're sleeping, while they're at work or wherever as a robotaxi. And they'll be able to make $30,000, up to $30,000 a year. Now, this is where the future is going. And I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna change a lot of stuff too. And there's about 4 or 5 things that's gonna change everything about our futures. And this is one. And I've always said this. Of course, AI, quantum computing, and robotaxis. This is a pretty strong episode on the future. So robotaxis will change everything. I'm gonna tell you why. It's because now you get to that society where people can make income based on their assets, on every asset that they own. Instead of just how real estate or other assets like that. Now I can put to work every asset that I own to make money. My TV, my computer, my car outside. I can use those all to add to the network of things or Internet of Things. And I can receive micropayments in exchange for allowing my device to be part of that network. That's what Helium was trying to do last year. So this is beyond ride sharing. This is not Uber. Because there will be no drivers. This will all be automated. So the future of these things, like we said, the robo-taxis, Tesla's things, is going to need some type of payment system. And this is where I strongly believe cryptocurrency will finally have a strong, strong place in society. Because there has to be a way to be able to receive payments for this type of stuff. And dollars won't work. You can't move dollars this fast. So it has to be a type of cryptocurrency, and hopefully XRP, because that's a cleaner, faster cryptocurrency than Bitcoin is right now, but it could improve in the future. So it has to be a way for micropayments to go across where the fees are cheap, and also where there's not a lot of friction in between those payments. Right? So like I said, is that I really believe that the future is going to be robo-taxis. And I think that Tesla has the inside track on that. That's why I'm buying Tesla for the next few years, because I strongly believe that Tesla is going to be the future of robo-taxis. Right? And we talked about another company. We talked about Archer Aviation a couple of weeks ago. And that stock symbol is ACHR. Kathy Woods bought a whole bunch of that a month or so ago. And I strongly believe that stock is going to be the taxis of the air, right? And back to what we were saying is that how robo-taxis will change society. I want to touch on that a little bit. Is that if you go into a city like New York, and I want you to imagine what the future is going to be. Think about this. About 30% of the land in New York City on the ground is delegated for car travel and car storage. Think about how much space in New York is set aside to park cars or any other major city. Everybody has a driveway. Walmart has huge parking lots outside. And it was an estimate about 30% of all land mass in a city is set aside for storage of cars. While you're in the store stopping or at the mall or whatever, In a future where robotaxis exist, where every individual will use their car and allow it to go pick other people up while they're busy, you won't need this. You will not need to store your car. Your car will work for you while you're sleeping. Your car will work for you while you're in the store at work. Your car will be added, or you can be part of a car subscription network. Almost like Uber. You pay some money a month or whatever, and anywhere you are and you need a ride, a car picks up. It could be a Mercedes one where you only ride in Mercedes, or you only ride in Cadillacs, or you only ride in Rolls Royces, but you pay a certain amount a month and always a car will be available to pick you up. And that's the future. And what that's going to do is going to open up the landmass. There's going to be millions of square miles available all over the world to build new buildings on. It will change the complete face and infrastructure of every major city on earth. And this is going to happen in our lifetime. And we have to be on the cutting edge of the trend and invest and make money. So back to what I was saying. This will be everywhere in the world. Somebody says, will this be the U.S. or do you think this is happening in many countries? This will be everywhere in the world. Now, the third thing we want to talk about is Zoom. Now, at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a few followers. You know, I said about 80, I had about 75,000 at the beginning of the pandemic, 67, I had about 60 really. And actually at the very beginning of the pandemic, I was still working at AAA as a software engineer. I sold my company a year and a half prior to that. But I still didn't get all the stock yet, and I still didn't. I didn't have all the money properly invested before I quit it was a high-paying software job, so you don't want to just drop that off. I actually liked working there too, to be honest. But so I quit during that time because I had all my money invested properly. So one of the biggest plays I ever made, and that's what got me like 50,000 followers. I was the only one to predict that Zoom would blow up in response to the pandemic. I mean, how many of you guys remember that? Let's see a show of hands. Who remembers that? That was like 2012, that was like 3 years ago. But I was the only one that said that Zoom would blow up because of the demand from work at home, right? And Zoom ended up going like up 300-400%. A lot of people made a lot of money. And it kind of cemented my position as a futurist, being able to predict what was coming next. So I think Zoom has another opportunity here. Zoom's revenue is growing. Not a lot, but it's growing. It's kind of sluggish, but it's growing pretty steadily, right? But they have a lot of free cash flow. And I believe that Zoom has a great potential because Zoom is one of the biggest companies that are investing a lot of money into artificial intelligence to augment their services. And with a video streaming service like Zoom, there's a lot of opportunities to implement AI, to streamline their processes, to make video clear and make audio clear, to transcribe audio. There's an incredible amount of, and actually you can get the data too, which, you know, but I don't know about the data. I'm kind of against milking data, but a lot of companies they make a lot of money doing it. So I'm just looking at it from the company side and how they make money. Now, if they can apply AI to the video streams, transcribe, and they already have some of that. They can, clear people's faces. They can make people, they can judge things that are happening on the streams. They can farm that data. There's a lot of opportunities to increase revenue significantly by implementing AI in most of their processes. And I know that they're spending significant amounts of money on AI in the next 2 quarters. And I believe it's going to cause them to have a very nice profit going forward. So I strongly believe that Zoom has a great potential here with the implementation of AI to make good profit over the next 2 quarters. So I am buying some Zoom stock, because I kind of see a future there. I'm not going to put a lot in there. I'm not going to say I'm going to put a lot, but I am acquiring a few Zoom shares because I still believe in Zoom. I think that the pandemic has changed everything in the future, and people are going to, and if Zoom can use AI to beat their market competitors in a very competitive marketplace. Now, everybody and their mom got a video conferencing platform now. I think there's a big opportunity for Zoom right there. And like I said, I am gonna start investing more in Zoom. So before we continue, I want to talk about this big MARA and RIOT play, and that's going to be the last 10 minutes. But before we continue, like I said, if you're in the CNC, you've been making money, drop those money bags. The last day to get the CNC locked in at the $78 price per month is going to $98 next week. I know I said this before, but to be honest, I just haven't had time to change it because I was out of town last week. I should have done it last week. I just haven't had time. I'm going to go in there tomorrow morning and change it to $98 a month. It's $78 now. You'll get locked in at that price forever, but it's going to be $98 in the morning, and that's the price it's going to be going forward. So if you've been making money, drop those money bags on Instagram. And also, I'm going to answer this question. Somebody says, where does Uber fall in all this? I'm going to answer this question. I got a minute left on this one. So Uber, I've always strongly believed in Uber. I think that Uber has a great model because Uber, like Tesla, is capturing a ridiculous amount of data. Uber has not been a very profitable company since it launched after the IPO, but they have an incredible amount of data from all these rides. They can predict stuff. They can predict where. So they can almost predict the moment that you need a ride. They're very close to doing that with the implementation of AI. So the problem with Uber, and I'm going to say this from a businessman perspective, so nobody get mad at me because I'm for workers' rights too, but I'm just going to say it from a business perspective. Uber's problem is their workers. Workers demand too much money. They're fickle. Some of them, and Uber drivers, I'm going to just go ahead and say Uber drivers over the last 5 years have gotten meaner. I mean, I'll tell you a story. When I was in Atlanta, Uber driver took me somewhere, right? And I always pay for the highest level Uber driver, and I always give good tips. So the dude, I was like, I paid for the highest level Uber because they have to wait, I think, 10 minutes for you. So I came down like 8 minutes. Got in the car, and about 5 minutes into the ride, I see on the dudes, I was in the front seat because my team was in the back seat. So it comes on this dude's screen and it says, you just lost your next ride. So we're giving it to another rider. So the dude looks at me and hits his leg and says, you just cost me my other ride. And I'm like, man, you shouldn't have, you didn't have to accept this, you know? And he's like going crazy, whatever. Man, the Uber drivers wasn't like this 5 years ago. You know, they were nice. They give you mints. You go in the back of the car, there was candy and snacks back there. They were very nice. They're not like that no more. So Uber's problem are the drivers. If they can remove the drivers and replace them AI, Uber will be the most profitable robotic taxi company on the planet by far. Because of the data, they have such a big head start on everybody else. And that's the only problem Uber has is paying their employees or their contractors. I'm gonna go on another tangent. The UPS drivers, they make $170 now or whatever close to it. I don't want to get in that argument. But that's dangerous too, because you've given UPS an incentive to replace you with AI. You make so much money that I promise you, UPS is throwing millions and millions of dollars into replacing those drivers. If you push your employer too much and you ask for too much money, you got to deliver. And if you don't deliver, you will be replaced. The higher your income is, the more risk you got it at. If I'm just working at McDonald's, I can almost do what I want, show up late, whatever. They can't, I'm not, it's not much money. The higher your income goes, the more you have to provide and the more you have to be valuable. People don't realize that as incomes go up. So I want to talk about one more thing before we go long is the MARA and RIOT play, the biggest play, and I've been talking about this consistently over the last few years. It's the biggest opportunity we have in our lifetime. The biggest opportunity. And this is probably the last big crypto opportunity there will ever be because too many people, I'll give you a good example. 24% of my Hispanics own crypto at some point, and 35% of African Americans. Now, if you go back to the previous cycle, it was almost zero. So that many, and plus it's like, I think it's like 40% of white people also. And also different countries, different races, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. A lot of people touched crypto over the last 4 years. At some point I heard about it. Now, all those people went through a complete cycle of cryptocurrency. So when they see it go up this time, they're not going to mess up again. They're going to hold. They're not going to panic sell. They're not going to do none of this stuff. All these influencers were talking about Bitcoin and crypto didn't know. Now they're going to know because they've been through a full cycle. Once somebody goes through a full cycle, they become smarter. So this is going to cause everybody to realize it. And it's not going to be any more opportunities like that because people ain't going to sell it as easy. They're not going to be no more panic. And that's what gives us those opportunities. Now, the biggest play in crypto, and I set up some images here. Let me see. So I set up some things here because I wanted us to take a look. I don't know if you got a smaller screen, you'd not be able to see, but I'm going to try to say it so that people on Instagram can see it. Because I wanted people to see this picture on the screen. It's on YouTube, so it's not on Instagram, but I'll try to say it. And this is RIOT over the last 5 years. RIOT had a spike in 21. Early 21, had another spike in late 22, and it went down. This is the 5-year chart over the last halving. Now, I want to overlay the price of Bitcoin over this chart. So I want you guys to see it, right? So like I said, if we just talk through it, I want to say it so the people on Instagram can see it. November 2020, Bitcoin was at $18,700. The price of RIOT was at $4.30. I'm sorry, let's go back to October 2020. The price of Bitcoin was $13,800. The price of RIOT was $294. The next month, Bitcoin rose $5,000 to $18,700. And it was up 35%. But the RIOT price went up 46% to $4.30. So you go to January of 2021, Bitcoin goes up another, roughly $12,000. It gives it about a 60% gain. RIOT went up 220% in that time. And then finally, in March of 2022, Bitcoin was at Bitcoin went up 25% from the previous month, but RIOT went up 176% to 4486. And I'm going to overlay the Bitcoin chart on top of RIOT. If you see what's happening is RIOT has almost a direct correlation to the price of Bitcoin, but it goes up at a higher rate. And this is just the stock. The options go up way higher than that. 10, 15, 20, 30 times. So there's reasons behind why it works like that, right? And I want to go over those reasons. So the way mining companies work, and this is why a Bitcoin mining play works so well in the Bitcoin bull cycles, is that I'm gonna give you some prices. So don't try to get me what the prices are wrong, whatever. I'm just giving round prices so the math will be easy so everybody can understand it. So let's say the price of one Bitcoin right now is $10,000, right? It may cost you $9,000 to generate that Bitcoin because electricity costs, because of competition with other miners, it costs a lot. You don't make a lot of profit on a Bitcoin. You almost use the same amount of electricity cost it is the Bitcoin's worth. You may make 10%, but that changes when the price rapidly grows because a lot of Bitcoin miners will save their Bitcoin. So if I made it take me $9,000 to make a Bitcoin, to mine a Bitcoin. So I may own that Bitcoin to me is profited me $1,000. So that means that I made roughly 11% on that Bitcoin profit. But let's say the next day I wake up and Bitcoin's price 15,000. Now Bitcoin, let's say 20,000. So the price of Bitcoin doubled. So it's up 100%. But my profit margins didn't double because I was making $1,000 per Bitcoin. My profit margin is now $11,000. No, yes, $11,000. So my profit margin, my profit is 1,000%, 10 times what it was the day before. Even though the price of Bitcoin only went up 1,000, I was only making 1,000, but now the cost of electricity has stayed the same from day to day. But now my Bitcoin that I'm generating is worth 20,000. So I made $11,000 on that Bitcoin. 11 times what my original profit was. So my profit margins skyrocket because of the price of Bitcoin is moving. So the stock price, which is a reflection in most cases of my profit or revenue that I'm generating, reflects those exponential gains overnight. So that's the reason why mining companies will make a lot more money as Bitcoin rises. Investor sentiment also adds to that. Increased activity, increased interest, people looking for Bitcoin stocks, that adds to that hype cycle. Market speculation, people trying to find some way to invest in Bitcoin that may not understand cryptocurrency. Adoption, earnings reports, all of these complex factors factor into this exponential growth of mining stocks. Now, if you add in options, which give you another level of leverage, that's how you get those 20, 30, 40 time returns we got in 2021. And now if you made over $1,000, and remember I called that play out before anybody else in 2020, middle of 2020. People became millionaires on that play. People were able to pay their children's college. People bought houses. People bought cars. People started businesses because people may have put in $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 and end up with $100,000 off of that play. And there's people here that will admit to that, right? There's people here that will say that. Now, if you did it, just say, if you did make money on that play, I want you to say it in the comments. That was like 3 years ago though. But somebody asked me earlier, like I said, I'm doing one-to-one calls. I'm talking, people are calling me, asking me what they should do on this play. I can't give you any financial advice, but I can lay it out to you. So if you want to schedule a one-to-one call to talk about the Bitcoin halving, text the word call to 89603. You'll get a link and you can do it. But this time, like I said, this is my big opportunity. I see it coming. I know it's coming. And I'm telling you, I'm going for 10, 20, 30 million in this play. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do it multiple ways. And like I said, y'all may not see me no more after this. If my plan works out, y'all may not have access to me no more. I'm just letting you know. I'm just joking. I'll still come on, but I'm just joking. I like doing this. It's fun teaching. Somebody says, how do you play earnings without getting IV crushed? Earnings with what? We're not playing earnings on that MARA and RIOT call. We're playing. It's a pick and shovel strategy. I may just block everybody. Yesenia may be right. I appreciate you, Andre. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, if you're on YouTube, like the content. If you haven't liked it, subscribe to the channel. We got 167 likes, but we got 1,000 people were in there watching, but 167 likes. There's something wrong with that. So I need you guys to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We got 341 people in here. So like I said, if you want to join the CNC, DM me the word CNC. CNC is our 5-star community. We got a 5-star rating over the last 3 years. We've made a lot of money. We've taught a lot of people how to do a lot of great things. You come to events free. You get classes for free. It's included in there. You get signals. You get crypto information. We give you information on the hottest cryptos. There's a lot going on. People have made a lot of money. They've learned a lot in the CNC. So if you want to lock in that $78 price, DM me the word CNC or click the link in the bio and get it today. And like I said, as I'm not have to lie, everybody knows I made money. If you've been making money in the CNC, drop those money bags in the Instagram and also in YouTube. So like I said, we got 286 likes, but 700 people on YouTube. I need you guys to like that video and subscribe to the channel. So like I said, I'm going to open it up for the last 3 minutes, ask any questions you guys have, and then we'll let you guys go for the night. Okay, somebody said, what should expiration day be for RIOT? Now, the Bitcoin halving is not going to happen into March of 2024, May, somewhere around March. It could be March, April, or May, somewhere in there. So if I'm not going to take an option out, and I told people this in the one-to-one calls that we were having, like I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what I'm doing. I'm not taking any options out because there's too much time value on options right now to make the maximum amount of money. I'm waiting till late this year, early next year to start taking out my options on those two stocks. Because it's too much time left and you don't want to, you won't make as much money. So I'm waiting until like 3 or 4 months before the halving to take out. Like the stocks, okay, I'm buying the stocks now. But the actual options, I'm going to wait until December, January of next year. You'll lose a lot of the value of your options in time decay because nothing may not happen from here until, nothing probably will happen in crypto from here now, not really significant now until then. So you'll lose a lot of the value in time decay. Somebody says, what do you mean in options? Well, you have to join the CNC and you can learn about options. I can't, options, it's like a 3-hour class. I can't teach that fast. An option is a contract to, let me try to explain it quickly. An option is a contract to buy have the option to buy a stock at a future price before a certain date. But it allows you to have leverage because I can pay a small amount, sort of like a down payment, to control those stocks until that expiration date is over. I don't have to choose. I could choose to buy it or just leave it alone. But it gives me control over those options, over those stocks until a certain expiration date at a certain price. So let's say, for example, I have an option at $50 in the stock that I have the, option out for gets to 100. That means that I have the option I have the right no matter what to buy this stock at $50, even though it's $100. So I can buy the stock at 50, give the dude his money, and then sell it instantly for $100. But I can also sell the contract itself to somebody else. Now that's the best way I can explain it quickly, but it's like an hour to explain that. And there's scenarios and analogies that I use to explain it easily. The chart you showed comparing MARA and RIOT with Bitcoin, will it be shared in the CNC? Yeah, I'll drop it in the CNC. Options are cheaper than the underlying stock. All right, so like I said, I hope you guys have a great night. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week.